Puri is asking, even if the love is our own nature and is within us, I still need to connect with another person to feel that intensity of love. Why?
Well, it's not that you need, you want to. And that's part of the human experience, no? We want to feel love, we want to give love, we want to receive love, and that's what the human experience is about. But as long as you've anchored it internally, and you're not demanding it externally, it's perfect. You know, it's not that we're all going to be sitting in love and not move out of our rooms. You know, that's not a human experience. That's a hermit experience.
Alexandra is asking, I'm pregnant of a little baby girl. I'm so happy for that. I would like to connect much more deeper with the baby during this time of the pregnancy and when will be born. I have all the facets of my 6 months, and I would like to know, what do you recommend to use more or not to use at all?
You know, just unify all the time, no? With your eyes open and be in that space of peace. You know, you want to be transmitting that space of peace. Maybe don't do the transformer, no? You might cause too many waves. But just be in peace. That was a joke. You can do the transformer, you can do whatever you want. But how lovely that you're bringing a baby into a world when you experience consciousness. It's a perfect time to have a baby. For sure.
Alicia is asking, I'm one of those people that see the garden of the neighbor greener, and I still don't know how to accept and appreciate the people that is around me, close to me. My expectations are the problem, I know, but I still don't understand how not to expect anything.
You know, the thing is, you can perceive things, but until you're open to receive, you can't see the abundance you have. And some people have a phenomenal abundance, and they can't see or receive what they have. And the only solution is to expand consciousness. You know, once you live in praise, love and gratitude, you see the abundance everywhere. And if your neighbour appears to be more abundant, you're happy for the neighbour. You know, you start to appreciate all the dualities because you're in abundance. And that negativity, that competition, that jealousy, that envy, it all leaves because it's all fear-based. You know, what you perceive isn't how things are. You have to clean your window of perception. And firstly, start by appreciating what you have, because you have everything.
Claudia, I has watched lately that to be ignored affects me a lot. And when this happens, I react with anger, but I don't express it to the person. But indirectly, non-directly, I express with comments of the victim. How to go really deeper and to let go of my burden.
You know, this is such an immature place. And you have to see that you're creating that through your external expectation. You know, I need to feel important. But who can make you feel important? You. You're always waiting for someone else to make you feel important. And when you have consciousness, you don't need to be important. You're just free to be yourself. No, importance comes from the ego. I won this. I won this. won that. I achieved this. I achieved that. My boss thinks I'm great. You know, you have to be great for you. You can't keep waiting for someone to approve you, because approval is fragile. And when you're needing it, it's very natural that people start to ignore you. Because sticky, you can feel it. If someone's sticky, you can feel it. And the natural response is to remove. And of course, then the person that's sticky, that's desperate for approval and love, feels like a victim. No one appreciates me. No one loves me. Doesn't matter what I do. I do everything. I try so hard. But nothing's ever good enough. And see this space, no? It's so immature. It's so immature. It's like little kids that sulk. He's suffering, and he thinks his mother's suffering because he's suffering. You know, it's very immature.
Just somebody asked me, where is the bean? Where is located the bean? And I was not able to answer. Can you tell me, please?
You know, we experience our essence initially, internally. And then we experience it in everything. Because there's only one consciousness. And when we're living in separation, we start to connect with that inside. And really, it's love consciousness. It's what you experience. It's that part of you that's immortal, that's divine, that doesn't change, that's eternally there. But then, as that expands and expands and expands and your consciousness opens, you'll experience that in everything, and you realize that everything's one. Okay? So that will make your friend very clear.
Rosemary is asking, during yesterday's Darshan, you mentioned about the separation of self. How to unite what is separated?
Well, this is what the facets do. This is what the whole system does. It lets go of the ego, it lets go of the personality, and you find your true self, which is inside of you. That's consciousness. And then your expression, because all humans have a different expression, a different aspect, and they start to perceive that in its true essence, not something you've invented. Because we all have something that's unique and perfect. And once we start to connect with that, we start to give that to the world. It's not that we all become in robots, no. We all have the same being. The essence is the same, but the expression is different. But they're all the same. It's all part of the whole, and in finality, it is the whole. Oh, God, that was really confusing. For me, no. It's like, I can give you an example. If you know anything about Hinduism, they have thousands of gods, and they all have different aspects. So imagine if you have thousands of humans, they all have different aspects. But every human has every aspect internally. You are everything. I am that. But some aspects are more defined, and that's what you take out into the world.
Sometimes I feel so much anger, and I don't know why. And I feel it, and it's an emotion that I have been with me since a long time. Also, I feel it when something annoys me, and I don't tell, and that is resentment. and doesn't allow me to go deeper even if I try. What else have I have to do?
You can see it's an addiction, no? Because it's not something spontaneous. It's something you cultivate and you get resented and then you start thinking about it and that stops you going in. So it's a protection. It's like any obsession. It's not that the anger's a problem if you let it go in the moment, but you don't. You brood and you run it around and around and around. And the quicker you learn to let it go, because it's just an energy and it's a protection, the deeper you'll go. You know, there's nothing wrong with sadness, nothing wrong with anger, nothing wrong with joy, but it's like a child. It's in the moment. It's a human expression, but then it goes and the joy returns. When you start doing this, you know it's a protection. It's a place where you feel like a victim. It places you on the surface. It keeps you out of yourself. Like any obsession, it's an addiction.
When you say that everything is an illusion and nothing is forever, I feel fear. Can you talk about that fear?
But nothing's leaving. The form leaves, but everything's there, permanently and eternally. It's like if you have a Lego and you build a huge building and then you pull it down and you make a horse and then you pull it down and you put little blocks all over the place. But the blocks are always there. And love's like that. It changes form, but it doesn't leave. Even if you think you've lost it, it's still somewhere. It's still part of the whole. It's the whole of the part. Nothing ever leaves. And once you find your true essence, you realize that you are eternally that. You never came, you never left. The totality changes form. It changes form, but it never leaves. It's always love. This is why these illusions, and this is a great thing about the coronavirus, no? It broke the illusion of separation. You know, you could be in Greenland or Australia and have the same virus. It's all illusionary, this separation. All of it. Because we're all one. And it makes it very clear. The lines are of no consequence. They're not real. There's one existence. One. Within the illusion of duality, we create separation.
Marcela, the protection that is disguised in a harshness, I see that is protecting the pain. But the reactions are so automatic, and I would love to change it so much, and I cannot.
We have to catch it. You see the movement. But the irony is, you're protecting yourself from love. Because the fear is old. It's not existing in this moment. It's your projection. You know, leave me alone. I can do it by myself. I don't need any support. It comes from fear. And it comes from a lack of vulnerability. As you start to connect and become vulnerable, those walls will fall down You know, all walls make us prisoners. We think they're protecting us. If you think of them physically, all walls make you a prisoner. Your fear is external, but it's not real. You have to heal that internally, and then all the walls will fall down.
Eulalia. Many times I wonder which one is the reason that some has so much and so others so little. I feel it as if some people is born to have a triumph, to succeed, and another ones to be feeding the rest, as it happens in nature. So which one is the purpose of having love consciousness?
You know, love consciousness exists equally in everything. And everyone's having a different experience. And it's through your illusion you perceive that to be a better experience. But is it? I've seen people with nothing living in joy. I've seen kids in Colombia playing football with a coconut in absolute joy. I've seen people with more than anyone can even imagine living in misery. Everything's an experience. One isn't a triumph and one isn't a failure. And everything can change in every moment. The only thing important is what you have inside. You know, I think I've talked about this before, but I was in London when they had the paraplegic games and this boy got out of a car, put in a wheelchair, and he was burnt, but everywhere. Like his whole body was destroyed. And I walked past him and I look at him, you know, and smile at him obviously. And he's like this. And I mean, anyone else would be in absolute misery. And it wasn't because I smiled at him. He was in that energy. I could feel that energy. And I've seen people with so much abundance, always worrying about what's missing, the color of my handbag. Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, I didn't do that. And, you know, it's all illusionary. Ultimately, it comes down to how much love you have and how much of that love you're giving. Because if you're not giving, you don't live in joy. If you're not internally abundant, it doesn't matter how much wealth you have or how much fame. Look at how many famous people kill themselves. Why? Because they don't feel like they deserve. So let go of these ideas that some people are blessed and someone's a victim. Because we're all blessed exactly the same. It's what we do with it. What do we do with it? When I lost everything, I had to create something new. And everything new. No one gave it to me. And that's the point. What are you going to do with your suffering? What are you going to do? Are you going to evolve? Are you going to change? Or are you going to blame God because things just ain't fair?
Adriana, lately I have lots of fear. I wake up with fear, remains with me the whole day, and I have no idea what to do with it.
You know, just love it. It's leaving. That fear's always been there. It's like you've opened the door and it's flying out the window. It's just flying away. And stop giving it so much importance. And stop exaggerating. You know, stop being a drama queen. It's there all day. All day. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't see. I'm like this all day. Por favor. I know it's not true. Okay, so move. Focus on facets. If that sensation's there, just feel it. Talk to the teachers and see this need to dramatize everything. In this moment, I'm experiencing fear. I'm going to go into my consciousness and I'm going to allow it to dissolve. There it is. I'm connected with consciousness. I'm feeling fear again. I need to move the energy. I feel back. There it is. It's consciousness. You know, fear has to be dissolved in the totality. And that's within you. It's just a drop. And sometimes it's a hailstone. Granito. Okay, granito. A granizo. It's okay. Just allow it to dissolve into the totality. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know.
What is to know self? Is just to know aspects of you?
No. It's to go beyond all the aspects and know absolute self, which is your divinity. And then from that space, you start to perceive your qualities. And the things you judge. Once you know yourself intimately, you know everything intimately. Everything intimately.
Can you talk about existential crisis? Because I used to love to work with children, and now I cannot tolerate them, and I'm super confused because I studied for this.
Oh, well, maybe you need to, I don't know, work with penguins. Yeah. You know, you have to connect with why you don't like it. And let it go. Maybe you romanticize the whole idea. And in reality, it's not as much fun as you thought. You know, children have wonderful qualities. And they can be little monsters. You know, you need to anchor in your consciousness and see what's happening. Because it's very strange that you go from loving them to not wanting anything to do with them. You know, you need to go a bit deeper and see how you feel. What are they provoking? Are they being disobedient? Are they not respecting you enough? Do you need to change? Do you need to put more boundaries? Do you need to put less boundaries? Do you need to be more loving? What do you need to do so that you can enjoy? You have to see how you can change. Kids are great mirrors. You know, if you're not being completely integral, they will see it like this.
Macarena, how can you recognize the drama? How can I recognize when I'm getting into a drama?
Because you don't want to stop. There's always a moment where you can choose. And when that moment comes, you choose. You go in. But when the adrenaline comes, it's a drama. I want the drama. I want to fight. I want to be right. I don't want to be controlled. And you have to catch yourself and see how easy it is just to let go. Okay, I'm going into a drama. I'm trying to provoke some form of response externally. What am I looking for? Oh, the adrenaline. Stop. Go in. Do I need this drama? Praise love for this moment in its perfection. Do I need this drama? No. Slowly open your eyes. But I want the drama. And in that moment, it's your responsibility. Whether you take it or you don't. You have a choice. And energetically, it's very easy to catch.
Can you talk about insomnia? Why it happens?
You know, it's a place where you just can't switch off. And I think it's a beautiful thing to have the facets. Because even if you can't sleep, you can unify. And as you diminish the high levels of stress, it becomes much easier to sleep. But if you're unifying, it covers the sleep. Your body's going into a profound depth of rest. But it all comes from high levels of stress. Sometimes it's hormonal changes, big changes in your life. And you just need to let go. Don't make your insomnia something new to worry about. It's very hard to sleep when you're laying there thinking, I've got to sleep, I've got to sleep, I've got to sleep, I've got to sleep. Forget about sleeping. Just use the facets. Okay, I need to rest. So I'm going to unify. And that's very deep. And it heals my body. And it expands my consciousness. And you'll find that once you surrender to that, sleep will become something easy. But don't ever focus on what you don't have. Just let go in the moment with the facets. Imagine if you unify all night. Oh, you'll be enlightened in the morning. Yeah. Better than sleep.
Francisca is asking, when we have a problem or we are not deciding something, the teachers always tell us, ask your consciousness. So, how do I ask my consciousness? How to know that all the words that come, all the ideas during the unification will be an answer from my consciousness? Or is just another one of the thoughts or the chat of the internal chatting?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something different. Don't ask anything or anyone. Just unify and let go, and the answer will come. And when it comes, it'll be like this. That's my consciousness. Because if you're in duality, are you my consciousness? Are you my ego? How do I know you're my consciousness? Maybe you're my ego. What did you say? No, I better ask my ego. Oh, you get in such a state. So you have to let go. Okay, you have to let go. And go in. And then the answer comes. Trust in your consciousness. Trust in it. because it already knows that which you search for. Just be. It will come. But also see, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just another experience. An accumulation of experiences.
Maria Paz, since a while ago, I put your movies to go to sleep to connect.
Is that they made you sleep? Because they're so boring. Que bueno. I'm glad they serve for something. Okay, yeah.
And I listen to your voice in English, and then the music, and it's like all starts vibrating. And I wonder, because before it used to be boring to watch your movies, and now this change, what happened?
You know, the thing is, when you start watching consciousness, you don't understand it. You have an inkling it might be true, but you start to see it on a very superficial level. But as you start to expand your consciousness and you're open to receive, you start to feel the vibration. Because everything's vibration. My darshan's about me giving my energy. I repeat a lot the same thing because you have to get it. And when you're looking at it on the surface, oh, yeah, I heard that before. Yeah, I heard that before. Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, she said that in the last darshan. But did you get it? Do you get it? No. And this is a protection of the mind. And then at some point, it's like you've heard it for the first time, everything starts to open. Now I understand. Now I get it. Oh, now it's my experience. And the same thing happens with the facets. You know, in the beginning, there are these little phrases that are often very uncomfortable that you'd like to change. So the first thing you do is you start thinking, oh, maybe they're translated badly. Oh, I'm gonna tell them how to translate them properly. Yeah. And you start putting everything on the surface because it's a protection. And when you let go, everything starts to open because everything's working energetically. It's not working with reason. Or knowledge. It's beyond that. It's much beyond that. It's based in experience. Because we all have omniscience. We all have the answers. And as our vibration elevates, we start to become the answer. It's our experience. That's why scientists could never understand enlightenment. Because you can't explain unity with a machine that vibrates in duality. It can never perceive unity. It can see it visually, but it can't understand it until it becomes that.
What to do when around us in the family there are people that are manipulators, aggressive, and violent?
You need to move your stress. You need to remove yourself. You need to connect with what's going on. You don't need to engage or protect yourself or protect anyone. You just need to be by yourself and connect. How does this make me feel? Because the problem is when people are being violent, we start to fight. And what happens? More violence. If it's irrational, just let go and go in. How does it make me feel? Oh, I'm sad. Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm whatever. And connect with that. Remove yourself and connect.